Can I be honest with you about something? When most people talk about modesty, the conversation goes straight to the hemlines and the necklines and what you can and cannot wear. And I get it. That's what we've all been taught.
Don't you know that all your colors stand out from all the others like a work of art?
Hey ladies, welcome to Uncommon Teen, the place where real life, real faith, and the real you collide. I'm Coach Jamie, and today I'm joined by our teen co-hosts, Sadie, Rosie, and Kayleigh. Ladies, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know what is your go-to drink?
Hi everybody, I'm Rosie, and my go-to drink right now is probably an iced caramel latte or bubbler. I can't decide. One of the two.
Hi ladies, I'm Kayleigh, and my go-to drink is probably a bubbler or a cream soda Olipop.
Hi ladies, my name's Sadie, and my go-to drink is probably just a classic Coca-Cola.
I have to say my go-to drink is probably a smoothie, or I really do like Olipops too. The cream soda is pretty good. So ladies, today I want to have a completely different conversation because here's what I've come to believe. You could be covered from head to toe and still have a modesty problem. So today we're going to talk about modesty, what it really means. And I promise by the end of this episode, you're going to see it completely different. All right, so ladies, I want to know, when you hear the word modesty, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
When I think about modesty, it's usually a girl who is very nicely dressed and confident, like someone who isn't showing off her body, but she also walks with like a confidence in her step, and very kind-spirited. That's what comes to mind when I think about modesty.
When I think of modesty, I think of dressing appropriately for whatever occasion that you're going to.
Yeah, same here. When I think of modesty, I think of wearing the right clothes and like making sure you're dressing appropriately.
Yeah, I don't know if you all have the same thoughts as the girls who are listening. What are your thoughts that most people think about modesty?
Probably like a set of rules that you have to follow that you don't want to follow, but you have to do it anyway. You have to dress modestly enough for your parents' approval.
Yeah, I think a lot of people tend to think that modesty is ugly. Like, you can't be cute and modest at the same time, which isn't true. Yeah, and also not wanting to be different. Sometimes people don't want to dress modestly because nobody else is and they feel like they'd stand out if they did.
I think a lot of people think, when they think of modesty, it's like you said, like a set of rules, or like the fingertip rule, if your skirt's too high or whatever. But also, I feel like a lot of people think almost like a potato bag. Like when they think about modesty, it's like not cute, it's not pretty, it's just like covering your body up, like head to toe. I feel like that's a reaction I get a lot from people talking about modesty.
I agree with you, like with what most people think about modesty. I see it a lot. Think is the underlying issue to like why modesty is such a challenge.
Well, everyone wants to be noticed, and I think dressing immodestly, like, people notice you, but they notice you for the wrong things. So, yeah, it might get you what you think you want, but it's not something that you really want if you think about it, because you're drawing attention from, like, guys or whatever that isn't the right attention. And also, like, yeah, there's a lot of comparison in that too, just even from other girls.
Like, it definitely is an attention seeker, but it also is like when you're not feeling great about yourself, you'll want other people to be like, comparing themselves to you and how like great you look.
That's good. So growing up, how was modesty explained to you all?
Usually it was just like, here's what you can and cannot wear. It wasn't really explained. It was just like, here are some dress codes for different things, and like, that's too short or you can't buy that. But it wasn't ever like, here is the underlying reason why we dress this way.
I agree with Rosie. I don't know, at least from what I can remember, I don't remember a time where it was actually explained, just that you can't wear that. What they're wearing isn't okay, like that's too short, or you don't want to show this part of your body or that part. Things like that. It's just kind of almost explained over time, but not like, this is why we do what we do, or this is the way we honor God with our bodies. Like, I think it's just explain what you can't do more than why.
Yeah, I think there definitely is a lack of an explanation for it. I think it's mostly just like, don't wear this, don't show this part.
Yeah. So have you ever felt ashamed or judged because of what you were wearing?
Yes. Actually, I have a
Yeah.
story about that. So the other day, I went to church with my family, and then afterwards we were gonna go shopping, but I didn't bring extra clothes. I was in like a denim skirt, and it was a cute denim skirt, but it was like longer. It came to my knees, and I was walking around places, and it felt very awkward because I felt like people were watching me and thought that I was just a person who always wears skirts or whatever. It felt very weird. I was like, this is awkward. I can tell, I can feel people watching me. It's just a skirt.
Yes. Yeah, I've had situations like that before, but it's kind of more like if I'll go to sort of fancy thing and I'm wearing pants or whatever, but then everyone else is wearing skirts. It's like, oh dear, I should have worn a skirt. It just kind of like, oh, this feels really awkward.
I feel like back in the day, women were always expected to wear dresses and skirts. If a woman chose to wear pants instead, they would get looked at strange, probably by most people. But now I feel like it's the opposite. Like when women are in public and they wear skirts, it's like, what are you doing?
So do you think that the way modesty is usually talked about hurts girls or helps girls?
I'd say that it probably hurts them if, like, it's just explained by don't do this and you can only do this. Then it kind of makes them want to do what they're not supposed to do if it's not explained. Like, if the reason isn't explained well, they'll just be like, well, I want to. Like, why can't I? And then when they're older and they can make their own decisions, they likely won't make modest choices.
Yeah, I think it hurts girls as well because there's not like an explanation for it. It kind of is just like, well, it doesn't really matter, so I can just wear whatever I want. Like, I feel like that can sometimes be the mindset for some teen girls.
I feel like modesty in itself, when it's explained well and there's a good heart behind it, it's a very good thing. But otherwise, I think the way it's perceived and the way it's explained or not explained can hurt more than help. Even girls who are dressing immodestly and then they're being just judged for it, like they don't know why, and often we're not told the why or how to like explain that to someone else. Even it's just judgment based almost, and that's not helpful. It's hurting more than helping.
Yeah, it reminds me of that saying that rules without a relationship always end in rebellion. And that's really what it is. If you have a bunch of rules, it's like your natural instinct is to want to rebel. It's like, because you're not understanding that why, like the heart behind it. And so it's like, I just want to push back as much as I possibly can. I guess the problem is that when we talk about modesty as only like you can do this or you can't do that, it puts all the focus on our outside image. But God cares way more about our heart than he does about what's on the outside. And so it really is a heart issue. And so I want to read Romans 12, 1-2 as the foundation to like what we're actually talking about. And it says, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so you may prove what is the good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. Notice that Paul says, offer your body as a living sacrifice. It's not just your clothes. It's not just your Sunday best, but your whole body, your whole life. And that's like an act of worship to God. And he then says, do not conform to the patterns of this world. And that word conform means to be pressed into the mold, to like be the same as the world. Basically saying, don't let the culture squeeze you into what it looks like. And so when we're talking about modesty as a dress code, it's not really just an outside appearance. It's what's really going on in the heart. And so I want to ask you guys, think of that word sacrifice. What is a sacrifice?
It's like to give up in a way.
Yeah. To give up for something in return, right? Like you're sacrificing this for a better return. So when it says that to offer your body as a living sacrifice, what do you think that part means?
I think it's living for God, like going through life living for him and doing his will and living according to his word.
Yeah. I think it also means modeling Jesus because Jesus sacrificed himself for us. And if we give our lives into serving God and doing what God has planned for us, then we're living like Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go in for an interview, or at least me, like when I had my first interview, I dressed up for it. And I dress in a way that would like represent that I'm qualified for the job, or that like I'd be a good candidate, just like representing that I'm hardworking and that I care and that I put effort into it. And so if you think about that, like a lot of times the way that you dress is an impression. Like other people will look at you, and if they've never met you, that's their first impression of you. And it's also an impression of who you serve. Like you serve the Lord. You're supposed to live in a way that glorifies Him. And so if people are looking at you and they don't see that by the way that you dress, or they see like that's a worldly thing to wear or whatever, then it's not directing their hearts or their minds towards the Lord. It's directing it to things that they shouldn't be thinking about or just not living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's really good. And it kind of brings me to that next point of like Romans 12:2 saying, don't conform to the pattern of this world. Don't let it squeeze you into its mold. What do you think that looks like for you all in 2026?
Well, I think right now, I feel like the cool thing to do is to blend in, to be popular. I actually looked up the actual meaning of popular, and it means not standing out and like not being extraordinary, kind of just like going with the crowd. And I feel like a lot of the time that's like where immodesty can flow from, because like you just want to fit in, you just want to follow the crowd, follow the cool people, you know, do what they're doing, wear what they're wearing. Like I feel like that's kind of where it can come from.
Yeah. I'd say keeping your heart focusing on the things of God, because that's going to lead you in the long run to wherever He wants you to be. That's how you're going to get there. But also, like Sadie was saying, like don't be a copy and paste person when you were made uniquely the way you are, just because God wanted you that way. He saw a world that needed someone just like you, exactly like you. And when we copy and paste ourselves, pretty much, we're just dressing, acting, and talking the way that everyone else is. How is that unique? How is that bringing out the person that you were made to be for a reason?
Yeah. I've actually thought about like an analogy. All people are kind of like a big puzzle, and every puzzle piece is different, and it's different in a good way, and it has a place like where it's needed and a place where it like connects other people. And like when everyone lives out who they're supposed to be, then it can create a beautiful picture, because you know everyone is working together to make something beautiful by standing out and being themselves.
Yeah, I want to go back to this real quick. The way that you were explaining like the definition of popular, it reminded me of like the exact opposite of what an uncommon teen actually looks like. And so like the definition, and you can see this on uncommonteen.com, is rare, above the ordinary, exceptional, and remarkable. And to fit in, to blend in, that's kind of the opposite of what God calls us to be. So do you feel like social media pressures teen girls to conform?
I think there's a lot of like if someone posts pictures of themselves or whatever, and other people see it on their feed and they're getting lots of likes or lots of comments like you're so pretty or whatever, then people who see that or friends like, well, they're like, well, I want that. I want people to notice me. I want people to say that about me. So then they try to dress the way that they dress, or like fall into that trap of just being a copy and paste, like Kayleigh was saying. It's just like you're missing the point on what your purpose actually is.
What do you think is the difference between dressing to express yourself versus dressing to get attention?
I think the difference is like your heart behind it. And when you dress to express yourself, I think it can be sort of like expressing who you are and what your interests are, what you're like striving to be, like, you know, striving to be more like Jesus. But I feel like when you're dressing to get attention, I feel like you can kind of be more in danger of going down the path of comparing yourself to other people, because when you're trying to gain attention, like somebody else could be wearing the same clothes you're wearing, and you can be like, oh great, like she looks so much better in that than I do.
Yeah. I personally feel like it's hard to know the heart behind things, but I feel like I can tell the difference if someone's like trying to dress for attention or trying to like express who they are. I feel like I notice the people who are just like their outfits are very much like them, like they're just expressing who they are on the inside, and those are the ones catch my eye. I'm like, oh, I love the way that they're dressed today. Like it's so fun because it's you know it's who they are. And I love that so much. Versus like when someone's just dressing for attention. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like you can tell the difference by just looking. Like if it's like you were saying, Sadie, I feel like it almost makes people more insecure or like they just blend in or I don't know. There's a big difference.
All right, ladies. I always like to end with a declaration, and I've done this for years. But I want you to really think about these words as we say them because, you know, so many times we can say things and just repeat it. But if you actually stop and think about the words and really take them in as your own, that will begin to help your heart posture change to that heart posture of modesty or getting your acceptance from God and not from man. So if you will, just repeat after me and really mean it from your heart. I am beautiful. I am valuable. My beauty and my value, they don't change. Even if someone fails to see how incredible God made me. All right, ladies. Couple of quick announcements before we head out. We are now taking orders for our August collective. That's so crazy to think about. We are officially going into the month of July. And so I know every one of you ladies are in the SOAR collective. You all got last month's shirts. Tell these ladies, should these ladies join the SOAR collective?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Why should they join?
Joining the SOAR collective has really helped me to strengthen my relationship with God and make new friends along the way. And it just is like super fun. I'm really glad that I got to be a part of it.
My favorite part. Well, okay, the group is by far the best part. So join that if you can. But also, the packages are just great. And the devotionals are very well done. Like, you can go pretty in depth and think about scripture in ways that you probably never have before. And also, there's a free t-shirt. Well, not free because you pay for it. But there's a t-shirt. It's a bonus, you know? Also, stickers, which are very good quality. So, I highly recommend, and everybody should join it.
Yes, I agree. Aside from like the package and everything, it's very good quality, so cute. The t-shirts are so comfortable. I love my t-shirt. But the
That's why
group,
Sadie and I are wearing them right now.
they're so cute. But aside from like the stuff, the group, so fun. It's the people on there, like I would not have met Rosie, who lives very close to me, and I would never have met her. I would not have known Sadie. I would not have known anyone in the group, and they're all such like they're just the best. I love them all so much. They're so kind. They're so fun. They all have their own personalities that just bring like life to the group, and I love it so much. Like even if you just join for to meet other amazing Christian girls, it's worth it. It's so worth it.
Yeah, I agree. It's my favorite part too. You ladies are pretty awesome. And then one more announcement before we head out. If you have not yet grabbed your tickets for Uncommon Teen Live, what are you waiting for? July 18th, the prices will go up. So grab your tickets now. Get the best price possible. It's going to be a life-changing experience. So the conference is going to be September 17th through the 19th. Just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and we would love to have you there. All right, ladies, I hope you have an amazing week. And remember, stay uncommon.